everybody, welcome back to the Waxwing Beginner Guitar Series. I am Elliot and Waxwing is my music school. This is the fourth video of things everybody should know before their first guitar lesson. In this video we're going to be handling how to read tablature for the guitar, how to read chord charts, and how to read scale charts. First off, you might be asking yourself, what is tablature? Tablature, or tab for short, is a shortcut or a shorthand to reading music for the guitar or other fretboard string instruments. Commonly, tablature will look like this. As you can see, that there are 6 lines going across the screen. Now those 6 lines represent the 6 strings on the guitar. Now if you were learning guitar that has more than 6 strings, there may be more lines on the page. If it's a 7-string guitar or an 8-string guitar, there will be 7 or 8 lines indicating the 7 or 8 strings. This goes for other fretboard string instruments as well. For instance, ukulele and bass guitar will have 4 lines on their tablature indicating the 4 strings. This will also go for mandolin. Although there are 8 strings, the strings are doubled, and so it would be represented in 4 lines as well. The 5-string banjo will have 5 lines, and so on. So getting back to the guitar and the 6-lined tablature, we have to figure out in what order the strings appear. At first we might think that the very top line indicates the 6th string, or the thickest string, but it's actually the opposite. If we have our guitar out, in order to make sense of the strings, we have to flip our guitar neck towards us, and this is how the strings appear. The one at the very top here will be the 1st string, going to the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th at the very bottom. So if you take your guitar and you flip it towards you like this, and you look at the order of the strings, this is how it appears on tablature. Now that we've handled the order of the strings, what else is tablature showing us? Tablature is showing us the strings over time, so the changes that we're making to the strings over time. Next, we'll see that there are numbers appearing on the individual lines. Now we may think that these numbers indicate which finger we are using to play on the string, but in fact, the numbers are actually meaning what fret to press down on that string. So if we see a 2 on the 3rd line, the 3rd line meaning the 3rd string, we have to count down 1, 2, 3 from the top. That indicates the G string, or the 3rd string. But if we see a 2 on that line, that means that we have to put a finger down on that 2nd fret on the 3rd string. Now if we see a 0 on that string, you may have guessed, we play without any finger on the fret. So we call that note open. So these numbers can range anywhere from 0 to 24 depending on how many frets your instrument has. So when we're looking at a tab, if we have a line of music and there's a single line of numbers appearing on various lines, this would be a single melody line. So each of these notes would be played on their own in succession. Tablature can appear in many different forms, as we should be seeing some examples below. And often, tablature will be stacked below the music staff. There are many benefits to having the score above the tablature, but for now we're just going to deal with the tablature. You may notice that in some of the examples there are vertical lines coming off of the numbers, and those vertical lines are sometimes connected together along the bottom. These lines indicate rhythm in tablature, which we will be handling in the next video. When we see notes that are stacked on top of one another across multiple strings, this indicates 2 or more strings that are being played together at once. So this is how we indicate chords in tablature. If we see stacked numbers separated by strings, these notes will have to be finger-picked, using the thumb to play the lower string and one of the other fingers to play the higher string, to play them at the same time without playing the strings in the middle. So let's play our first example. This will be Hey Jude by the Beatles. Playing that slowly. Next, we have an example of playing chords using tablature. So to recap what we've learned about tablature, the horizontal lines would indicate the 6 strings. The order of the strings is indicated by, if we look at our neck like this towards us, the one at the very top would be the thinnest string, or the first string, and it goes down like that. So the order being first string, second string, third string, fourth string, fifth string, and sixth string at the very bottom. If you see a number on one of those strings, that indicates what fret to play on that string. Vertical lines, either being alone or connected by a horizontal line at the bottom, indicate rhythmic markings. Any single numbers are played alone, and stacked numbers are played together. Next, we have to learn how to read chord charts. Chord charts are a really great way for any player to begin to learn how to play chords without having to read music or tablature. Chord charts continue to be indispensable as a tool to learn how to play different voicings on our instrument. Our typical chord chart looks like this. It is similar to tablature in concept, but it is a little bit different. Much like tablature, in order to understand what we're seeing, we have to take a look at our guitar neck facing towards us. If we were to turn the guitar neck towards us and have it being up and down vertical, then this is what we're seeing when we look at a chord chart. The chord chart is showing us a section of the fretboard vertically. With this in mind, that would mean that the vertical lines indicate the strings. Going from left to right, it would be the thick E string, the A string, the D string, the G string, the B string, and the little E string, or the 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings. So if the vertical lines indicate the strings, then the horizontal lines indicate the frets. If we're playing in the open position, meaning in the first 4 frets, then there is usually a thick black bar at the very top of the chord chart. The black dots are placed on certain frets, which indicate where our fingers go on specific strings. So in this example, this is an open position C major chord, and the numbers above the thick black bar would indicate which of the 4 fingers we're using to play that specific dot. If we see a white circle above one of the lines, that indicates that that string will be played open with no finger on it. If we see an X above one of those lines, that indicates that the string will not be played, or it will be muted in the chord. So in this example, we're going to be playing the open position C major chord. So in this chart, we can see that the first string, the one furthest on the right, will be played open. And then we have a dot on the first fret on the second string. The third string will be played open as well. And then we have a dot on the second fret on the 4th string. And we have a dot on the 3rd fret on the 5th string. And we have an X on the 6th string, indicating that we don't play that string. This chord should look and sound like this. Now, if the chord is not played in the open position, then it will look something like this. As you can see that there is a number followed by an FR. This indicates what fret the second line from the top of the chart will be. So if we see a 5 and we have a chord that looks like this, then we would play the chord with our first finger along the 5th fret here, as indicated, and the rest of the chord follows. This is a D minor bar chord in the A minor shape. Now these notes can be played all together, all simultaneously with one strumming motion. Next, as a bonus, we're going to learn how to read scale charts. Now scale charts look and operate much like chord charts, but there are distinctive differences. So everything in structure about the scale chart is the same as the chord charts. The main difference is that we have multiple notes on a single string. So we cannot play these notes together in a chord form. These notes need to be played one by one. So we will begin on one of the black dots furthest to the left-hand side. The black dots indicate the root notes. There will be much more on scales and scale theory in further videos. After playing the root of the scale, we go down on the same string to see if there are any other notes that we can play on that string. If there are, then we play that note until there are no further notes on the string. If there are no further notes on that string, we move to the string on the right, and we start at the very top of the vertical line, and we play all the notes present on that line before moving to the right again. And once we get to the first string and we play the last note, we can do the same thing in reverse. So these charts can be read forwards and backwards. So here we have a 2-octave G major scale in the second position. Starting on the black note that is furthest to the left hand of the chart, we'll play here with our second finger on the 3rd fret. We play everything on that string before moving on to the next string. And here we are on the 2nd fret on the 5th string using our 1st finger. We go to the 3rd fret with our 2nd finger, we go to the 5th fret with our pinky, and we continue along the pattern. Next example we have is a 1-octave micro scale box on C. So we begin on the root note, or the black note that is furthest to the left-hand side of the chart. That indicates the 3rd fret on the 5th string. So beginning here, we have the 3rd fret on the 5th string with our 2nd finger. We play everything on that string, we move on to the next string. And the pattern is ending there. Then we can do that in reverse. For our next example, we have an A minor pentatonic in the 5th position. Our root note is on the 5th fret on the 6th string using our 1st finger. So we play everything on that string. Then we go to the next string. Next string. And in reverse. These are very useful tools because they allow us to put a lot of information into a very small space. We can put a lot of scale charts onto one piece of paper or have a lot of them on the screen at any given time. We are also better to see patterns emerge on the fretboard when we're using scale charts to visualize how scales fall on the guitar. Okay, thanks for watching. That's it for this video on how to read tablature, how to read chord charts and scale charts. There was a lot of information in this video, so feel free to watch it several times. You can even take notes to help you remember the different concepts. If you found this useful, please like and subscribe or send it to somebody who might also find it useful. That goes a long way. I'll see you in episode 5, which is an introduction to rhythm. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.